Hello friends, this lesson is for preschool and enrichment, and today's art lesson is really going to be a lot of fun because we are going to be spreading paint around with a hairdryer. We're making something that's artful and useful. We're going to be making wrapping paper today. So Sophia, you can come in and zoom in a little bit on the two samples that I have here. These were created on just regular computer paper, all right? So very easy supplies today. You're also going to need a hairdryer. You're going to need acrylic paints. For this particular example, I've chosen colors that are in the cool spectrum. To me, they feel very spring-like. So I was thinking that if I wanted to wrap a present for someone's birthday coming up soon, these might be colors that would appeal to both me and them. If you want to try doing a sample with warm colors, that's a great idea as well. And friends, you know that when we mix some colors, a lot of colors together, sometimes we end up making brown, which may not be what you're looking for. So this is kind of a fun experiment. So how we're going to start is I'm actually going to do a sample on a larger piece of paper. So I'm going to set these aside. And this is actually a really good way to dry your samples when you're finished with them. If you don't get them completely dry with a hairdryer, you can put them on a cookie drying rack and they'll dry in that way as well. All right, so I'm using a larger piece of paper, and what I found when I was creating the samples is that if you tape your paper down, it's a little bit easier to manage when you're using the hairdryer, otherwise your paper can blow away. All right. With the paints, they have to be watered down a bit. So you can see that I put my paints in these small glass containers, and these are the colors that I've chosen. And as you're doing this, you have to experiment a little bit with how liquid your paints are going to be. I'm going to put a little bit of green in there. I am going to add some water. And so I just have a little pitcher here that I can just pour water in to see, to keep experimenting how much water I need. And you'll also notice that I have quite a few brushes today. If you don't have more than one or two brushes, you can use a water container just to rinse your brushes and then use them in the different paints. But for right now, I'm going to put a paintbrush in each one of these because I think it's the easiest way to do it. All right, and this one I'm going to mix up a little bit and see if that's a good consistency. And you'll see when you start to do this whether or not your paint is too thick or too watery. If it gets too watery, the color gets kind of washed out. It's not very intense, but that may be a look that you like, so it's really up to you. All right, I want to make a little bit of pink, this really bright fuchsia. It's a nice accent, I think. All right, so put a little of that on there. And add a little water. Okay, we'll see how that goes too. All right, and I'm going to use this big brush. All right, I am going to start with, I think, my teal color here. It's kind of a green. Oh, good, Sophia, come on over top. Yeah. All right, so you can kind of, hopefully you can sort of see how liquidy this paint is. And now if I use it and I don't like it, I feel like it's not spreading well enough, I can always add more water or paint. And all we're gonna do is just drip it around, okay? You can even pour it a little bit if you want to. I'm just gonna drip it. I'm working a little bit quickly because we really don't want the paint to dry before we can get the hairdryer over here, which is, I actually tried doing this with watercolor paints and found that they just dried too quickly. So I'm gonna keep going at a pretty brisk pace here to get my paints spread around my paper in a way that I like, all right? There's a little bit of blue. Let's add some violet here.
Ooh, I like that combination.
All right, well, we'll see. And if it spills a little bit on there, that's fine too, all right? I'm gonna add a little bit of this citron green because I love this color all the time. I think I'm gonna like this color combination. All right, this is it's fun to spread this around like this. All right, and then a little bit of pink for accent, I think. Oh, and you can see that this is going to get quite messy. So that's why I have, oh, that was a dried piece of paint. That's not good. This is not liquidy enough, so I'm going to add a little more water here. I have a very large piece of cardboard today that I'm working on because it can blow quite far when you use the hairdryer. All right, I think I better start before it gets dry.
Also, you probably shouldn't wear anything that you really like.
True. Okay, so I'm going to back up a little.
Okay.
That
is awesome.
Isn't that fun?
That's super cool.
And you can see it is going off my paper. I'm going to go a little bit here. And I think I'm going to stop there because I like the way it looks. I'm going to stop there because I like.
Whoa, that is super cool.
Well,
I
I'm
like
glad
that.
you liked it. It's really a lot of fun, but beware, as you can see, my paint did get blown right off my paper. The other thing I want to say is you don't want to use paper that's really thick. Like cardstock would be a little too heavy because if you want to use it as wrapping paper, it needs to be a little more flexible. However, if you're going to use it just as to make art, you can use any thickness of paper that you like. So I hope that friends enjoy doing this as much as I did. And would again love to see those samples. If you want to post them, send them to Northside. It's fun to see what everybody's up to. And that's it for this week, for this lesson. It's easy, fun, and functional. So have a good time, everybody. See you next week.